The two best Brians in the house. That's without a doubt. In at least in my mind, which who knows what's going on there. Brian, could you introduce yourself? Don't You don't have to be humble. You're an
Yeah.
extremely kind, successful guy who's done all these cool things. So run with that. Introduce yourself for folks.
Okay. My name is Brian Brady, and I am professionally a classical architect, and I do mostly historic homes. My firm is based in the Hamptons, in Southampton. We also have a presence in Philadelphia and in Palm Beach as well, because it's the same clients in Palm Beach that are in the Hamptons, so it makes it a lot easier. I'm 69 years old, and that's pretty much who I am. Yeah.
Where were you kind of before you found me, before we started working together? Like, where were you in any sense of the word you care to elicit, like mentally, emotionally, physically, goal oriented, relationship oriented, like just however you want to characterize, like where were you kind of like right before you found me or right before we started our journey
Yeah.
together?
Well, the impetus for all of this was that I went through a pretty devastating breakup with my partner, and I was, really, really torn up about it and feeling very depressed and just not understanding which end was up, basically. And at the time, one of the main reasons for the breakup was he had some anger issues and would rage at me. And I didn't really understand too much about that because I didn't grow up in that type of environment. And the more I talk to people, they're like, he's got real strong narcissistic tendencies. And then I started going down the rabbit hole about narcissism. And and then it was actually a friend of my sister's who knew you, Brian, and told me to look you up on Instagram, which I did. And so then, and now you're on there all the time. So I reached out to you, and we kind of just clicked right in the beginning. And I understood the whole symptoms of narcissism, and through the process realized that my boyfriend really is not a narcissist, that he does have narcissistic tendencies. And I loved, Brian, when you said, let's not put labels on this. It doesn't matter. Don't put any labels on it. You don't need to call somebody something. You just need to know how you feel and basically how to deal with it. So we started our sessions dealing with my breakup, but then it just grew and grew and grew into so much more. And that was you. That was you doing that. Like you were driving things out of me that I couldn't believe. And the whole thing. My partner is Jim. The whole thing with Jim was sort of, that was just the introduction, and then it just went into a lot of good advice, a lot of good coaching. My life has changed dramatically, and actually Jim and I are talking again. So yeah, everything's really good. But we got into my childhood and the things I'm lacking in my life. We got into my family and how I relate with them. I have 2 children. I have 2 grandchildren. Um, and we got into my career and talking about how I'm going to retire. I mean, we just covered everything in life that I needed to help with. And I really didn't even understand I needed help with it until you started telling me I did.
And
um,
and that takes I mean, it takes two to tango, right? Like your openness to input or to coaching, to guidance, and of course, people come in with a certain. This is going to be my next question of like your initial expectations, but you come in within a set of initial expectations, which I'll ask you what were yours, and then to ride the wave and kind of be open of like, oh, let's explore this and let's see what needs love over here. Let's see what needs attention over there. My
mhm.
point in saying that is it's a huge testament to you that you were able to show up and kind of look at things and have that openness. So, again, huge congrats to you. But yeah, right. So what were your initial expectations of working with me?
Um, the,
Um,
the first thing was just to try to understand what would drive somebody to rage. and where does it come from? And I learned a lot about Jim's childhood trauma. He grew up in a really abusive family, and then I started, having some empathy for him because of that. I mean, it doesn't excuse the behavior, but it's still, when you understand it a little bit more, you can sort of reflect on it. And then what I learned is how I deal with things. And we talked about that. I've learned that I really have grown up. I was like the golden boy in my family. I was, the youngest and the most successful and all that. But I always told people what I thought they wanted to hear. And that's how I went through life. And it wasn't like, this is how I feel. It was just, I would just try to please everybody and just like say, this is what they want to hear. And, I'm going to be 70 years old. It takes this long to figure that out. Um, but it's made me a much, much stronger person. I'm starting to actually recognize my feelings because I'm just not, I'm thinking more, I'm being more open. And,
You're feeling more. You're feeling
I'm
more.
feeling more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're feeling more. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I know, and that's the piece that, as you know, I got really excited about because that's like it felt, I'm still feeling this way, that it was like such a breakthrough for you, to kind of turn that corner and to register, okay, like, do I really need to be people pleasing and like, what people want to hear and all that stuff, but like you've
Yeah.
mastered that. Like, what about, let's run it through your own internal circuit of what makes sense to you. What are you feeling like? So, I got excited about that. And that's just, it's
Yeah.
so rewarding. It's so rewarding to like, I know where you started. You didn't come in like super down by any stretch and like in a lot of ways, but I just can see the vibrance in you now. I like you will come across with more natural confidence and things like that. And it's just,
Mhm.
I can't tell you how rewarding that is to witness. So again, credit to you. What were your hesitations working with me before we like? So we covered your expectations. What hesitations did you have before we started, or like as you're deciding to work with me, or like kind of right before you
Right.
make that not only decision to sort of, okay, I signed the paper, whatever, we're gonna do this, but then also like you got to show up, you got to put in the work.
Right.
Like there's multiple investment and decisions sort of that you kind of have to go through to commit to a process. So I tend to word things with 500 extra words, but what were your hesitations coming into this?
The hesitation is, again, what I was just saying. Am I going to be open and honest with this guy, or am I going to try to just tell him what I think he wants to hear? And you really made me feel so comfortable that I could just be open and honest, and I could just tell you exactly what was on my mind, what was going through my head, what I need work on, feelings of not being good enough, and that we talked on that a little bit, and how that affects my career. Where we talked about, I always was in line to get the big jobs, but nine times out of 10, I didn't get the big one, and now I'm starting to. Um, it's all of that. But I didn't really have a lot of hesitation going in because you're you just know so much about this, and and it was great. It was really great. And, we clicked and we have tennis in common. We have, all kinds of things in common. So it was very comfortable to be in your company.
Appreciate that. What were you able to achieve by us working together?
Just a really clear sense of who I am. I have a good peace of mind right now. I've got some issues that I have to work on with my family, which I'm gearing up to do. And Jim and I are trying to work things out, and we're communicating like we've never communicated before, and we're being kind. We're just being really, really respectful of each other, and that's because I understand so much more from you. I mean, I've learned a lot about this type of situation, and yeah, and it affects a lot of people. Really does. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
your little niche industry here is very apropos for what people need right now. And I think, and now you're talking about growing your business and hiring more people. I think that's wonderful. I think that's great because you really do help people.
I appreciate that, Brian. What have you tried in the past and what made this different?
I had some therapy in my past. Um, you're more life coaching, but when I got divorced from my wife, I needed some help when I came out and told the world I was gay at age 36. I needed some help there, and yeah, so they were the two big things.
What would you say to someone who's kind of stuck trying to break free or figure out their healing journey? What, like, again, we're not overemphasizing the word narcissist, but it's sort of like a proxy to say, there's these different difficult, sometimes you have a difficult relationship with somebody, or there's unhealthy patterns or this or that, or someone's trying to figure out how to navigate this or navigate themselves in relation to someone else, and or even in relation to them, to themselves. Like, someone trying to take these next steps that you did, like, what would you say to that person?
Yeah, I think you have to learn to just let things go and really try to feel them. I mean, I needed to grieve this relationship. I needed to feel the hurt that was inside me, and it's a process. And I think allowing yourself to do that is a gift, really, and you help with that, so feel that way. You go for it. Yeah.
What's next for you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just trying to enjoy my life. I'm in Palm Beach in the winter and Southampton in the summer. It's not a bad gig, and summer's coming, so I'm back in Southampton this week. Yeah, I want to travel. I want to, just continue doing what I'm doing.
Any parting comments or anything else you'd like to share? Anything at all?
Just a big thank you, and I I hope we continue having some sessions. I hope we continue having being friends. I will sing your praises to everyone because you are a terrific, terrific coach, and it's been good.
Thank you so much, Brian. You have been a true blessing to work with. I really mean that. It makes such a difference, um, for both of us. And thank you. It's so great to see your progress.
Mm,
Keep feeling those feelings. Keep doing whatever the hell you want to do. As you round out this, it's like, yeah, you got a beautiful life ahead of you, and I know you're excited about some travel that you have
yeah,
in mind.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap. Thank you so much for doing this and just speaking your story, and I know it will make a difference to enough people. So,
yeah.
thanks a lot.
And feel free to give my number out to anybody that you feel just needs some
Okay. All right.
advice.
Well, good. I'm gonna copy paste your number across the internet. So thank you for that permission. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I figure you don't have enough spam, so let me get on that. No, thank you. That's very kind of you, Brian. Well, all righty, I'll let you get back to your day. I'll hit the recording here. And thanks again.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian.
Bye bye.